1, 2, 3, 4! There's nothing left in this old town. Pick up your life and move it around. And what is here for me in Tennessee? Pick up your rifle and make a stand. You always said I should be like that guy, but guess what? I'm telling you, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. Who am I? I'm Andrew f***ing Jackson.
The show's Bloody Bloody Andrew Jackson, and it's about our 7th president of the United States.
Basically, it's set in the 19th century, all about his rise and presidency, but at the same time filled with the rock band on stage and singing songs and microphones and all sorts of other crazy stuff.
Well, he was a badass. He was a groundbreaking president.
Well, you know, he was the first president to actually campaign for office, and he's the first president who was not a founding father of the country, so he's sort of the first time that a whole new generation of politicians and Americans were taking over.
The first thing we did was we decided that the show wouldn't really be about Andrew Jackson, it would more be about the history of populism. So already then you can sort of take a survey more of his life instead of like strict hagiography. And we wanted to sort of infuse it with a kind of like South Park sensibility. And so we took a kind of like what I like to think of as kind of like a cubist approach. So every sort of moment in his life we took a different kind of genre attack to it.
We call it an emo rock show, but any true aficionado of emo music might get, I'm pretty freewheeling with what I do with it. But he is, I mean, he was a cutter. He and his wife used to bleed themselves, and he's very sensitive and he feels things really deeply. So a lot of the music is this sort of in-between place of having some fun with emo and at the same time kind of the great actual emotional core of emo. He
was this sort of like really abused by the Spaniards, the British, and the Native American population when he was a kid, you know, and all his parents died and his brothers died. And so he was in many ways sort of the kid that was shoved into the locker that, you know, ended up, you know, getting back at the bullies and the jocks.
Alex says sometimes that the great thing about emo music is it's so serious that it becomes funny, and then it's so funny that it almost becomes serious again. So I think it's fun to try to have our cake and eat it too with how the music can both make the audience laugh and also then have a surprising emotional undercurrent sometimes.
It's a cast of 13. It's a like complete ensemble except for Andrew Jackson. Everyone doubles and triples, and everyone sort of has equally weighted roles. It's a band of 3, bass guitar, piano, and drums. But then some of the actors also play guitar, and sort of so they swap instruments at times.
Musically, they're probably the best group I've ever worked with, and I'm sure everything after this will pale in comparison.
It's non-traditional, and it doesn't fit in the kind of Spring Awakening, Rent, rock musical role, mode. It's much more in this sort of Marat Sade, Arthur Kopitz Indians thing, where it's, you know, it's political theater that's not asking you to like, you know, weep at the end or laugh incredibly heartily, you know, at the final sort of glib moment. It's not like that at all. It's much more complex, and I think the question it leaves you with is like how complicated it is to be an American, and this sort of the legacy that Andrew Jackson leaves that exists within all of us.
You get a 90-minute, incredibly funny, crazy, rowdy, thought-provoking, sometimes totally out of left field, awesome evening, I hope.
Your life's gonna suck universally. Life sucks. And your life's gonna suck universally. Sometimes with guns, sometimes with speeches too. I will make them all bleed.